العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين وزير الظالمين ومعز الحاضرين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته العطيبين المطهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في العالمين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra al-Marziya, for the enlightenment of the graves of the Ummahmeen, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahl-ul-Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Marwahu al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
All praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim. Last night we began our discussion around death, and from the moment a person views Ahl-ul-Bayt, there are a couple of matters that remained unspoken of as the person enters that first moment within the grave. One of the things that I forgot to mention in my haste to get through part of the narration was that when the moment that person's soul is removed from their body, or in that process of it being removed, he sees two individuals by his side. He turns to the first one, he says, "Who are you?" He says, "My name is Atid." He turns to the other one, he says, "Who are you?" He says, "My name is Raqib." He says, "What do you want from me?" He says, "We don't want anything from you. We were the two angels that sat on your left and your right shoulder. We were the ones that wrote everything. Here we have brought your book of deeds for you. Read." The man says, "I began to read my book of deeds, all the good deeds that I had done, and I was so happy with every moment of my life that I had lived. Then I got handed my scroll of bad deeds, and I went through every single page of that book, and I began weeping and crying, saying that not even a single moment has been left out in this book. Every thought, every eye movement, every second of every single day of all the time that I was on earth has been written in this book." Then at that moment, he says, when I became aware again of those things that are happening, family members falling on my body, crying, wailing, he says, Malakul Maut turns to each of them. He says that, "Why are you wailing so much? Why are you crying so much? Why are you becoming so upset?" He says, "I have not done any dhulm on him. I have only fulfilled what the command of Allah is. Why do you wail so much? If you were in my position and you were sent to take my soul, it would be the same as me coming to take the soul of your dear one." And then in another narration it says, when people start wailing so loudly around the dead body, Malakul Maut turns to each of them and he says to them that, "You, each and every one of you that wail, I will come and I will take each of your souls until there remains no one in your homes. Go forward." The ghusl happened, the kafan has happened. The body placed in the darkness of the grave. The individual says, Salman, because we're doing the narration of Salman Farsi, says, "Salman, at that moment my soul was thrown back inside my body. I woke up in a dark and narrow grave. And I began wailing, I began crying. I said, 'Oh Allah, let me go back. I promise I'll live my life properly. I'll live my life in the way that you wanted. Just give me an opportunity to hold my children, to see my family, to just go back.' From behind me," he says, "I heard a voice say, 'Kalla innaha kalimatun huwa qailuha.' وَمِنْ وَرَائِهِمْ بَرْزُخٌ إِلَىٰ يَوْمٍ يُبْعَثُونَ. Says that no, surely they lie. They lie. For now there is no return. There is a barzakh between them until the day that they are arisen. He says, I turned around and I turned to look at who it was that said this. He says, when I looked around, I realized that it was an angel. He says, my name is Rahman. He says, what do you want from me? What have you come to do at this time? He says, I have been sent by Allah to make you write your whole life's deeds. He says, but I have no paper. Rahman tears the person's kafan. He hands him a parchment of the kafan. He says, this is your paper, now write. He says, but I have no pen. He says, your finger is your pen, now write. He says, but Rahman, I have no ink. He says, your saliva is your ink. Write your whole life. He says, I began writing my every single action. He says, I turned to him, I said, Rahman, but a whole life, 60 years, 70 years I lived on earth. How will I remember this life that I lived? How will I remember all the good that I did? Rahman replies, he says, you forget, but Allah never forgets. I will dictate to you, you write your life. He says, I began writing my every good deed that I had ever done in my life. I began writing and writing and writing, and then he made me turn this parchment over, and he began telling me, write your bad deeds. And I began writing my every single bad deed, my every single bad thought. Every day I did riba, every moment I lied, every moment my eyes strayed and looked towards a member of the opposite gender with lustful intentions. Every second, can you imagine, every second of your life has been recorded. Every thought that you had has been recorded. Every movement of your hand has been written down, and you are forced to write it in the first night of your grave. He says, my mouth became dry, my finger began wearing out. I would say to him, Rahman, I'm tired. Rahman, I don't know, I can't write it. Let me lay back down. Because when Rahman first comes, he holds the mayyit, he sits him up by the order of God. He sits him up, he says, right. He says, every time I would grow tired and start to complain, he would pull out a poker, a red hot poker of fire that he would bring to my face. By Allah, Salman, if that hot poker had fallen upon the earth, everything would have perished. The mountains of Mecca would have melted from the heat of that. Says he forces me to write my every single moment. He says to me, will you write or will it require me to beat you? He says, I will write. He says, my finger wore away, my saliva finished, but yet my deeds were still to be written. He says, when I finished writing those deeds, he attached ropes around them, around that single piece of parchment. Sometimes we think, how is it possible? One piece of parchment containing a whole life. The barzakh is not like here. The life of the barzakh is not like here. There are many things that happen simultaneously, that are not bound by time, that are not bound by space. What happens in that dimension cannot be understood in this dimension. Says he takes that single piece of parchment that I have written my life on. He ties rope around it. He hangs it around my neck. The weight of that parchment was so much that if it had been placed on the heaviest of mountains, those mountains mountains would have crumbled. And I said to him that, oh, what have I done to you? What is it that I've done to you that you're doing so much dhulm on me? I've not even done anything to you. You're putting this, you're brandishing this hot poker towards me. You're placing this weight around my neck. He says, I feel like my neck's about to break, Rahman. Have mercy upon me. Rahman says, did you not read the Quran while you were alive? Where Allah says that every man shall be raised and every woman shall be raised from her grave. Around her neck will be hanging her book of deeds. He says, this is your book of deeds. Around their necks. Says the weight of it was pulling me down, was breaking my neck. But he wouldn't listen to my pleas. He wouldn't listen to my cries. Then he turns to me and says, now wait here. And wait until Munkar and Nakir come and deal with you. When Rahman leaves the grave, if the person is a believer, by believer I said yesterday, Salman, Miqdad, Abu Dhar, Asiya, people that have had, that follow the rules of Allah, not watered down the religion to suit their own desires, their own needs, their own fashion ideas. Says that Allah, He says that Rahman comes. If the person is a mu'min, He says this is a person of God. This is a mu'min. Go easy on him. And Munkar and Nakir come in a different light. Says, but if the person is a disbeliever or a sinner, then Munkar and Nakir tells them that this is a sinner and an enemy of God. Do as you please. Munkar Rahman is a precursor, is the person that prepares the dossier for Munkar and Nakir. Says, do as you please with them. He says, now, Salman, Munkar and Nakir entered my grave. What is the description of Munkar and Nakir? It says Munkar and Nakir, they enter the grave, tall, scary figures, eyes like lightning, voices like thunder. Thunder out here. How loud is it? Scary. Hearing thunder in the open sky, in the open land, scary. Thunder when you're underground in a 6x4 space. When someone's voice is like thunder, the narration say their voice kara'ad, like thunder. Munkar and Nakir, when they enter there, tall, scary, smoke billowing, eyes like lightning, voices like thunder. By their side they hold maces of fire. When they enter, they let out a scream so loud that my eardrums burst and they began. I said yesterday that when you enter the barzakh, everything becomes heightened 1,000,000 times over. That a pinch in this world is like being struck 1,000,000 times over in that world. So now when their voices are like thunder, imagine the pain that a person goes through, that they can't even think. Their very insides are being rattled. And then when they scream, they let out that scream, and it pops the eardrums of individuals. This is the same scream that is let out for previous nations that were given adhab by Allah. Previous nations that were given adhab by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You hear, it was but a single cry and they were all wiped out. The same cry will be let out, but now there is no death, there is no end. Now it's just the pain of that scream that bursts the eardrums of the person. He says they turn towards me and they began to ask me questions. We'll come to the questioning of Munkar and Nakir. We'll come to what they ask you in the qabr. He says they began to ask me questions. I was a believer, but now when I saw their appearances, I was dumbfounded. I couldn't say anything. The fear had gripped me so much that no matter how much I tried to speak, words would not come from my mouth. I looked to my left and right to see if there was anyone that would come to help me. There was no one to hear me. There was no one to heed my calls. There was no one that would listen to the words I had to say. Says Munkar and Nakir questioned me. Says I couldn't answer, and they began brandishing maces. Says they began brandishing their maces. They said, answer. I couldn't answer, I was so afraid. He says, so I turned my mind towards Allah. I begged Allah. I said, Allah, please help me. Help me say, help me answer. He says, I began to answer the questions of Munkar and Nakir. With every answer that I would give, their appearance would become less scary. When I answered their questions correctly, they turned towards me and they opened my grave. And it became wide. Gardens began to appear in front of me. And they said to me, sleep and rest, for you are a believer. The hadith concludes, we'll come to one of the questions of Munkar and Nakir. The hadith concludes, Salman, now this individual stops his journey. Salman now turns to Asbaq ibn Nubata. He says, Asbaq, take me off this plinth. Lay me towards the ground. Says he laid me on the ground. Says Salman recited Shahadatain and his soul left this world. But what are the questions of Munkar and Nakir? What are the questions? This man answered, his grave became wasi'. It became expansive. Gardens entered. It's told to rest, relax. But what about those questions? And what about those that cannot answer them? The sixth Imam says that the questions of Munkar and Nakir are 6 and 3. The companion says, so you mean 9? Imam says, no, 6 and 3. The companion says, Mawla, 6 and 3 is 9. Says, no, there are 6 questions. If those 6 questions are answered correctly, 3 additional questions are asked of that person that answered those first 6. And then there is one, in other narrations, one universal question that is asked to everyone in addition to those 6. Says, what are those questions? Says the first question, who is your Lord? Who is your Rabb? The second, who is your Prophet? The third, what is your religion? The fourth, what is your book? The fifth, what is your Qibla? And the sixth, who are your Imams? When we recite the talqeen, when we place someone in the grave, we recite talqeen, we shake their shoulder, we tell them, Isma, Ifham. We tell them, we remind them. Tell them, remember that the question of Munkar and Nakir is haq. Remember that the Mizan is haq. Remember that the Imams are haq. Remember that this is your Imam. When they ask you, reply, this is my Imam, this is my Imam. If the person answers the first 6 questions correctly, then the next 3 questions of Munkar and Nakir come. Says, we gave you ni'mat, we gave you blessings in this world. We gave you various blessings in this world. Where did you use them? What did you do with them? We gave you the blessing of health. We gave you the blessing of wealth. We gave you the blessing of a stable family. We gave you the blessing of safety. We gave you the blessing of having clothing. We gave you the blessing of having food. Where did you use it? What did you do with it? The second question is, we gave you wealth. Where did you spend it? We gave you wealth. Where did you spend it? The final question is, we gave you youth. How did you spend it? You were young once. You had youth. What did you do with it when you had all that strength? And then the final question that all of people will be asked is, then tell us of your love of Ahl-ul-Bayt. Tell us of your love of Ahl-ul-Bayt. If they answer these questions correctly, we heard that the grave will open, cool air will begin to flow around the head of the person. The gardens will come, the barzakh of Wadi as-Salam. That barzakh of gardens will open and allow the person to enter and live their life as if they were living in heaven. As far as the eye can see, gardens. But if the person cannot answer the questions correctly, the voice will come, Kadhiba Abdi, my servant lies. Then Munkar and Nakir have carte blanche to do what they want. When a person cannot answer what Munkar and Nakir want to ask them, if they can't answer those questions, then Munkar and Nakir can do as they please. And what they will do, we will talk about tomorrow. Today, the first question, they say, Man Rabbuk, who is your Lord? Now I say, and we tell them, say Allah Jalla Jalal. We say it right now, Allah is my Lord. But that isn't the world where I can blag. That isn't the world where I can try and work my way out of a situation by thinking about stuff. No, that is the world of Haqq. Says, Man Rabbuk, who was your Lord? Some will become so afraid they can't answer. They'll say, you two are my lords. Because they didn't have iman in Allah. In the world, they couldn't follow the religion of Allah properly. Allah said, pray. They said, maybe. Allah said, do hijab properly. Only in the masjid. They said, Allah said, fast. It's too difficult. Says, who was your Lord? Says, Man Rabbuk, who was your Lord? What am I going to reply? That I lived my life for sports personalities. I lived my life for lifestyle magazines. I lived my life chasing after celebrities and trying to live their lives. So they became my lords for me. They became my idols for me. My wife became my idol for me. My wife became my lord. She said, shave your beard. Don't connect your beard. Wajib, by the way, is all of this along the chin. Every man just says, shave. Shaving, passing the blade over here, the narrations curse the individual. The wajib part is keeping the beard along this chin line. And it must be seen at 40 steps and be accepted, not as stubble or an 11 o'clock shadow, but as a beard in the urf amongst the people. Says, no, but my wife said it makes me look old, and when she puts her hand on my face, it feels too rough. Says, Man Rabbuk, who was your Lord? Your Lord said something, and you did something else. Says, was your wife your Lord? My husband doesn't like me wearing hijab. He tells me that maybe I'll get attacked. He thinks that I should only wear it in the masjid so people don't talk. Man Rabbuk. How will we answer Munkar and Nakir? How will we answer? Here we say easy, Allah is our Lord. No. Our actions show Allah is not our Lord. Our actions show that we don't believe in God. We don't believe in Munkar and Nakir. We don't believe in Qiyamah. Because I wouldn't do the sins that I do. When it comes to the criterion of a beard, this is what is required. Along there must be considered urfan as a beard. When it comes to hijab, not a single hair should show to a mahram. According to Ayatollah Sistani, the feet must also be covered, and there must be hijab up until the wrists. The shape of the body must not be shown. This is hijab. Understand that if my life was, I'm going to play Call of Duty, my parents tell me to pray, and I say, not now, let me finish this level, let me finish this level, or let me get to the checkpoint, so then I'll pause it. Or I'm in a live game right now with someone else from across the world. I can't pray. If I leave the game, I'm going to lose my points. When we're asked, Man Rabbuk? When you're asked in the grave, Man Rabbuk? How can you say Allah? Because I gave more importance to, EA Sports. I gave more importance to my PS4, my Xbox. So when Allah asks me, when Munkar and Nakir ask me, Man Rabbuk? I want to say Allah, I want to lie to them and say, yes, I believed in Allah in the world, but my actions showed something totally different. Actions showed something totally different. How will we answer Allah? How will we answer in that grave? That's why Imam Sajjad says, فَمَالِ لَا أَبْكِي. For what reason should I not cry? أَبْكِي لِخُرُوجِ نَفْسِي أَبْكِي لِظُلْمَةِ قَبْرِي أَبْكِي لِضِيقِ لَهْدِي أبكي للسؤال منكر ونكير إياي أبكي لخروج من قبري أريانا ذليلا حاملا الثقل على الظهر. Says that why should I not cry? I cry for the darkness of my grave. I cry for the narrowness of my grave. I cry for when Munkar and Nakir will come to ask me questions. This is Imam al-Sajjad crying, not me. This is Sajjad crying, Zainul Abidin. He is crying, saying, how should I not cry, thinking about when Munkar and Nakir will come and question me? I cry for the time when I will be taken out from my grave, naked and humiliated, carrying upon my back the burden of my sins. The first question that Munkar and Nakir will ask, Man Rabbuk? Who was your Lord? How will we answer? How have we lived our lives? Will we be able to answer Allah? Or will other things come out from our mouths? We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives us. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives the sins of our parents. Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to our Muhammad in Jannah. Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. Oh Allah, destroys the enemies of Tashayyu around the world. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time, and allow us to be amongst his true munkadeen, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought today. Please recite 3 lakhs salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad